The Tipping Point with Mike Tipton is brought to you by Dubby. What is Dubby? Dubby is a clean energy drink that is made to give you focus with no crash, jitters, or angst like those other energy drinks have. They also have no maltodextrin fillers and don't use artificial dyes. Dubby contains vitamins, amino acids, a nootropic, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. W's products are made in the USA in an FDA inspected facility that strictly adheres to GMP manufacturing guidelines. All of the flavors are unique and custom made by W, and you'll never taste our taste anywhere else. The best part about it is they're affordable. W's drinks come out to about $1 per drink, much cheaper than Starbucks or any of those canned energy drinks. To learn more, visit w.gg.com/discount/MRTipton33 and place your order today. Use promo code MrTipton33 and save today. W Energy, be better. What's going on, everybody? I want to tell you about my new friends over at Cleverman. Visit them online at becleverman.com. What they gave me was the energizing face and beard scrub along with the Cleverman face scrubber. And trust me when I say this, the energizing face and beard scrub smells amazing. Combining it with the face scrubber, making sure that your boy was looking as good and sexy as possible, opened up a whole different sensation in my face that I haven't ever felt before. I felt so clean, so fresh, and so clean, like Outcast said, and it helped me feel like I was ready for my day. Make sure you visit them online at becleverman.com and follow them on Instagram at clevermannyc. The link is up in my bio if you want to check out all the amazing products they have. Visit them online, becleverman.com. It is the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton, hanging out with you here on a Friday morning. We are live on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Instagram, and of course on Roku with our friends over at National Streaming Sports. Shout out to National Streaming Sports for dealing with all the nonsense that I always bring to the table. It's a TIP VIP Friday, so you know I got my dude Augustine Pimentel hanging out with me today. Augustine, how are you doing today?
Hey, Mike. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Doing great. Great. We got some great weather down here in the Sun City, which hasn't been the Sun City for the last 3 days. But it's nice to have 80-degree weather when it's supposed to be 2,684 degrees.
I was about to say, I will take these clouds all day long because the sun was baking us. This time last week, it was like 105 degrees, and I'm so glad that I'll take this 80s with clouds and a little bit of rain. The El Paso Chihuahuas actually had their game postponed. They're playing a doubleheader today, which throws a wrench in our friend Steve Kaplowitz's 30th year anniversary party that he was going to have today. So that's been moved to July 3rd. So I'm looking forward to hanging out with my guy Steve Kaplowitz on July 3rd.
Yeah, that's going to be a great thing. And shout out to Cappy. Takes a lot of patience, a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of getting yelled at by Karen. And it's funny because Karen is his wife's name, by the way. So it's not being a Karen. It's but congrats to him, and it's been a while since he took over from the unnameable for me, John Teicher.
Why is it unnameable for you?
Because he's, and I'm going to just come out and say it. It's not like anybody on here anyway. But for me, it's great that he has a voice of the minors. He's been at it for a while and everything. But I would like, how about this? For a sports commentator, even if he's hired by that school, by that team, to tell the truth about that team and say, we suck.
Well, I don't think
Or we're
we
doing
suck.
better.
I think it would be more along the lines of like, you know what, we're not that good, but we're trying to get better at it.
Which is translation for we suck. Just say it. It's like the Cowboys year in, year out. We're trying and we're getting better.
I don't
We
know about
suck.
the getting better part. We got Tommy Cananza saying good morning, fellas. We got Beastrilla1, Ass Cheek 3 Toes saying good morning, Tip and Augustine. Hope that y'all are having yourself a fantastic Friday as we continue here on the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton. Somehow still not on Roku, so I got to try to figure this out. What the hell's going on with Roku? That's what you see me like over here doing all this troubleshooting while I'm trying to get this done. So let's see what happens here.
I told you about that button to have it ready. They're probably waiting for you to install that button.
I gotta have the own censorship button. Sorry, Roku.
So yeah, exactly. And you can record that. Sorry, Roku, and just put it on there.
I got to do it in that voice too, like the whole Val Venus from the 1990s, like "Hello, ladies."
Yeah, so I'll say it for you. Sorry, Roku, for that one too. But speaking of the devil, yeah, speaking of the devil, and I'll throw this question out there for you, Mike, and for everybody that's on here, having, giving us the privilege to be with them. Is Micah Parsons worth $200 million?
Yeah. Like I that's the way everything is trending. So I mean I could see it wind up being that way. Now it depends. Like if you're talking about like a 1 year, $200 million deal, no. We're talking 5-6 years. Yeah, I can see why not. Like it's
Really
up there. Yeah, 5, 6, 7 year contract at $200 million. I can see him getting that. That'd be no problem at all. Like obviously it would create a bunch of issues for the Dallas Cowboys salary cap, but I can see him being worth that much. And that's what Tommy's saying too. That's what the market says. So yeah, and that's the thing, right? Is you are worth whatever people are willing to pay for you. If Micah Parsons was to go out there in free agency right now, I guarantee you he would make a huge amount of money in free agency. So if you're the Dallas Cowboys, you got to find a way to stop that from happening. You're going to have to pay whatever it is to keep him on your roster.
So are the Cowboys going to be able to afford him?
Yes. So they did do a lot of changes and restructuring to their salary cap. So they still have a fair amount of money that they'd be able to get to him. And of course, as we know, the salary cap is it's there, but it's more of a suggestion these days. It's kind of like the speed limit whenever you're going around a curve. Like it's, maybe you should slow down, but you're probably not going to slow down, right? Like that's the way that it is right there. That's kind of the way the salary cap has become over the last decade or two in all of sports.
I was going to say that the salary cap is like a roundabout, but that's hitting home too much, isn't it, Tipton?
15 miles an hour through a roundabout. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what I always do.
And tell everybody if they don't remember what happened in your 15 miles per hour.
Someone hit the side of my car. I don't know what to tell you. Like they're the ones that were in two different lanes. God, I hate those people. Two different. I'm so glad I got my car back. Shout out to Ace Auto Body. I was able to get my car back last week. So shout out to them.
I told you.
There's nothing than like a rental car that you don't like.
Well, the last time I had a rental, it was funny because Ace is great. Are we talking about the one on Montana right off Airway?
Yes.
They're amazing. And I had my rental from across the street at Hertz, and I went in and I don't drive big cars. I mean, I like maybe medium, maybe compact cars. Guess what kind of car I got for 2 weeks?
They gave you a Yukon Denali.
You're very close. An F-150 double cab. That was huge. I mean, when I was driving that thing, I felt like I was in my turns were like up and over, and it was. I mean, I went through roundabouts, but I just went through them. I didn't go around them, but
You were like, let's check out this 4-wheel drive.
let's check out this 4-wheel drive, and it was all-wheel drive too. But Ace was amazing. They left the car spotless, immaculate, and everything. So shout out to them. They're a great little shop. But if anybody has the unfortunate time of going in a roundabout with Chihuahua plates, they're the good place.
I guess for me, like, so I have a Chevy Traverse. It's got 3 rows. It's a decent sized car, right? Like it's not as big as a Suburban I used to have, but it's still pretty big. And yes, I used to drive a Suburban. I remember driving that Suburban through New York City, and people being like, "Why are you driving such a tank through the middle of New York City right now?" Like all the cars in New York were so much smaller than what that Suburban was. But they gave me a Ford Edge. That was the rental car I had, was this Ford Edge. And I was like, I just didn't like it, man. And like, I like Fords. I have a Mustang. I've had an F-150 in the past. Like I've had all that stuff. I just did not like that little Ford Edge. It was the absolute worst. Tommy saying, Augustine, don't act like you're not used to riding on big things. Destiny also saying that Ace was amazing. Shout out to them. Their work is incredible. So yes, Ace is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Been in business for 80 years. That was crazy for me to hear that. 80 years.
Yeah, that means El Paso drivers have been around for 80 years, which is the scary part right there.
Ever since the first vehicle was in El Paso, we knew there was going to be car accidents.
Ever since the first squatters plates came across, they've been around.
It reminds me of that like story. I think it was like 1895 or something like that. That there were 2 cars in the whole state of Ohio, and they both wound up like getting into a car accident. I'm like, there's no way that's true, but it is true. Like it's wild how that happened.
It is true.
2 cars, and they found each other.
Yeah. So getting back to Michael Parsons, yeah, you guys say the market is dictating, and Myles Garrett signed for 160 million for 40 million a year. So you technically 200 million you would give. How old is Michael Parsons? Is he young enough to receive a contract like this?
I want to say he's 25, but let me double check his age real quick.
Because a 5-year deal,
he just turned 26.
So I think if there's a time to cash in, Micah, this is the time. But if I'm the Cowboys, I have more needs than just a really good pass rusher.
That's the thing with the Cowboys, is like that's the conundrum that the Dallas Cowboys are, right? Like they have a good defense, they have a good offense. They went out in the draft and they had a really good draft. They had really good free agency. They addressed all the positions that they needed. You got to remember, this was a team that last year Dak only played 8 games. Their defense, Micah Parsons was hurt for a majority of the season. Whenever he gets back, Trayvon Diggs winds up getting hurt. Like they never at one point last year put out the entire team. Like everyone, like there was always an injury somewhere, and that adds up. At one point, they had 19 people on the IR, right? Like that's a lot for a 53-man roster. Like 19 people, that's a good percentage of people on the IR. So for me, like the last year might have just been like that year they got snake bit, right? This year, like it's so hard to say, okay, this is the real big need for the Dallas Cowboys. The thing that I think is the biggest need for the Dallas Cowboys, as I see my friend Amanda Marquez tuned in over on Instagram right now, the biggest need that I see the Dallas Cowboys having is coaching, right? Like I don't trust that coaching staff right now.
Now, I got to say the following. With this history, and we know that players are going to continue to get injured, would you go, instead of paying these top salaries, and I understand the top players are going to command them, but would you talk to them and tell them, we want to win. and we want you to come in with us, would you go for depth instead of having these big superstars and be on the side that they may get injured? Would you go to have maybe too deep at every position, or one superstar, and then if they get injured, the team goes down the hill because
Well,
they cannot maintain that level?
that's the thing with the Dallas Cowboys roster right now is that, like, especially on the defensive line where Micah Parsons is going to play, they have a lot of depth. Like they still created sacks and turnovers and stuff like that last year with Micah Parsons being injured. It was just that Micah Parsons got injured, DeMarcus Lawrence got injured, like OC Odigizua got it was a bunch of guys along the defensive line that wound up getting hurt. So like their depth was really what came into question, and they were still able to get pressure on the quarterback whenever they needed to get pressure on their quarterback. So this year in the offseason, they go out, they sign a bunch of guys to help out with that depth along the defensive line. They go out, they draft in the second round a great defensive end that's going to be able to go in and give them, some more depth that's got a motor to get into the quarterback. So now you've got 4 guys along that defensive line that you can rotate in and out. So if Parsons gets, tired or injured or something like that, you still have some depth. And the best thing about it is because they're on rookie contracts, you've got them for the next 4 years without having to worry about paying them a whole bunch of money.
But do you think the most important variable here is now going to be, 1, coaching, and 2, and I think this variable always being the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys is an important thing. And have you seen Dak Prescott? He looks good. He looks like a real quarterback now. He doesn't look like one of us anymore.
I mean, he's always looked good. That's the thing with him, right? Like,
no, he looks way better now. I mean, you can tell he hit the gym big time this year. I mean, you can tell he didn't come to Juarez to have barbacoa, tortas, and gorditas in the off season like he usually does.
I guess the thing is like I'm a Dak guy, like, right? Like I think about it all the time. Like if you replace Dak Prescott, who are you going to replace Dak Prescott with? And there's nobody out there that's available right now that you would feasibly trade Dak Prescott for, right? And it would only be a handful of guys, like at the most 5 guys that you would trade Dak Prescott for. And again, like I think that Dak Prescott, Joe Burrow, I think they're closer than what most people think they are, right? Like they really are, but it's because Dak Prescott is a good quarterback. He really is a good quarterback. I don't understand why, like, you can sit there and shake your head. Their top seasons for both of them are almost identical.
Yeah, Joe Burrow is Joe Burrow. No,
that's not an argument at all.
Here's my argument. Joe Burrow came up bigger school, bigger pressure. He's accustomed to bigger things. He's been proving it all over in big situations. And he's Joe Burrow. It's Joe Burrow. And you're going to come up at me with stats and everything, but
okay. So I come at you with stats that prove everything the right way, and you're like, oh, those numbers mean nothing. The thing you do on the field means absolutely nothing. Okay.
I just think Joe Burrow is a way better quarterback. I think Joe Burrow is the best quarterback right now in the NFL.
You would take Joe Burrow over Patrick Mahomes?
Yes.
That's a lie.
I'd take Joe Burrow. Honestly, Joe Burrow is the coolness he has, and the way he deals with stuff under pressure. I just think Joe Burrow is a different cat. Granted, Patrick Mahomes has been put in different situations. He's a completely different kind of quarterback than the traditional Joe Burrow pocket passer. But both are incredible, yes. But I would take Joe Burrow.
That's wild to me. Just anyone saying they would take any quarterback over Patrick Mahomes, who's won 3 Super Bowls, is just wild to me. I'll take the guy who's been to a Super Bowl over the guy that's won 3 Super Bowls and had no wide receivers and somehow still got to a 5th Super Bowl. He's been in 5 Super Bowls, man.
No, the thing is, we got to give Kansas City one thing: really good coaching, really good. I mean, they get prepared. I mean, would you like to have Kansas City's coach as a Cowboy coach?
Oh
Honestly,
yeah, no, I think he's the best coach in the NFL. And if we're comparing it to the Dallas Cowboys coach, you're going to give me Andy Reid over Brian Schottenheimer? Yeah, I would take that in a heartbeat.
yeah, and I think
But
that's been
also,
the
there's also like 28 other coaches that I would take over Brian Schottenheimer right now. the bar was not set very high, man.
See, if you take McCarthy again, that's a problem.
I would have kept McCarthy over Brian Schottenheimer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Now that's a statement. Wow.
He's a rookie head coach. He's been in the NFL for 2.5 decades. He's a rookie head coach. Whenever he was the main guy calling the offense for the Seattle Seahawks, that's whenever they were going to let Russ cook. And it was Russell Wilson's worst season of his career. This is whenever Russ was cooking cereal with hot dog water. Like it just wasn't good. So for me, like I am 100% a what have you done for me lately kind of guy. Yes, the Dallas Cowboys did have the number 1 offense 2 years ago. Brian Schottenheimer was the offensive coordinator, but it was Mike McCarthy calling the plays. So for me, it's like, okay, like I guess there's a little continuity there. The team knows who he is. You've already heard me say this. I think the Dallas Cowboys got caught with their pants down. They didn't think Mike McCarthy was going to leave. He winds up leaving them and left them high and dry. And they had to be like, oh, crap, we got to find someone to be the coach. You, come here. Have you ever seen the movie The Campaign? With
yes.
Will Ferrell, Zach Galifianakis? And Will Ferrell fires
Yes.
his campaign manager. He's like, what's your degree in? He's like, sports management. Congratulations. You're my new campaign manager. Like, that's exactly the way this felt.
Man, that's not that old of a movie, too. So
it's also like reality. It's 100% reality. Sports around the 915 saying, yes, sir, I would have too. In terms of I would have kept Mike McCarthy over Brian Schottenheimer. Tommy Carranza saying, I wouldn't. I was screaming anyone but McCarthy. I'm going to give Shotty at least 1 season before I bash the guy. It was time for Mike McCarthy to go.
Now what if...
I guess for me, I was selfish. I wanted to do the Mike McGurthy character.
Yeah. You wanted personal gain. That's what was wrong with you. So, hey, what about this? What if Schottenheimer gets the Cowboys to, let's say, the conference final? Let's say he gets right before the Super Bowl. What would you do then? Would you get on the bandwagon, or would you still be on the sidelines?
It would be that team has so much talent around them. That's the reason why they get there. If Brian Schottenheimer were to somehow, some way get this team, like be the head coach of this team and get them to a conference championship, yes, August, I would be extremely happy. I would also be contrite because I have no problem saying that I'm wrong or apologize or anything of that nature. I just don't see that happening. Like, they're the Dallas Cowboys. They will find some way to shit the bed. Sorry, Roku. They will find some way to shit the bed and lose in the divisional round. Like, I guarantee, like, this team can go 17-0, and they'll find a way to lose in the divisional round.
So, quick, is Schottenheimer this year's Barry Switzer?
I mean, Barry Switzer had a team that won 2 Super Bowls, man.
No. Well, true, but this team has talent. And me not being a Cowboy fan, I can admit they have talent. But if they win, it will be in spite of him.
No, I think the way that they'll win is that this team has been able to be kept together, and they went out and again they addressed the needs that they needed to do. Like, Jerry Jones, the GM, did a fantastic job with the draft with free agency, and you can say whether or not he's pulling all the string or whatever it is, he's still the guy that's the GM. He's still the dude that gets the credit for what this roster is. They have a lot of continuity there. Again, with Schottenheimer being in the building, they're not changing the offensive identity of this team. They're going to change the defensive identity of this team, and apparently Eberflus is supposed to be a great defensive coordinator. We'll see how that goes. My questions with the Cowboys aren't offensively. They're going to be defensively and coaching, and that'll be figured out at the beginning of the season, right? Like, we'll see if this team gives up 40 points a game in the first couple of games because they're playing against the Philadelphia Eagles. Like, they have themselves a tough schedule. If this team is going to be legit or if they're going to be a joke again. And that's, to me, you can't have so many questions in the coaching staff and think that the first season is going to be great, right? Like, it's the first season of a brand new coaching staff. So for me, I'm looking at it realistically. I think they're going to be a middle of the road team. They might be a fringe playoff team at best, but I don't see the Dallas Cowboys being a real contender. I hope they are. Like, as a Cowboys fan, I hope they are. I just can't see that right now.
So about a month ago, we went through the schedule.
Yes.
And they have a legitimate shot to win lots of these games.
They also have a legitimate shot to lose a lot of those games.
Yeah.
The way their schedule is, having the 5th hardest schedule in the NFL is not like it's a guarantee that anything's going to happen. And then we know with the Dallas Cowboys, just because they're the Dallas Cowboys, they're going to have one of these games that's a huge letdown game. Like, they can have a 4-game winning streak and they get blown out by like the worst team in the NFL.
The Cardinals.
And that'll probably be something that happens to them. Our guy, the Crooked Commish, over on YouTube saying, "Yo, what's good, Money Mike? Hope that you're having yourself a great day." Crooked Commish hanging out with us here as we are live on the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton. Drea Thomas, Sports Room, the 915, C Blanc 61, tuning in over here on Instagram as well.
I just got to say that this season is going to be one of those. It's going to be an interesting season because every team got better. And would it surprise you to see the Chiefs again in the Super Bowl?
This year it would. I think the AFC got a lot better. I think the Chiefs with their offensive line, like, they've got issues, right? And I think this might be the season that the Chiefs kind of like punt on. Like, we don't have to be in the Super Bowl every year. Let's make it to the playoffs. Let's let someone else win. But let's get our bodies right. But the thing is like, they're also getting guys back offensively. So they're going to get Rashee Rice back. Like, they're going to have some targets for Patrick Mahomes to throw the ball to downfield now that they just didn't have last year. So for me, like, I still think they're a conundrum. It would be so hard. Imagine how hard it would be for this team to make it to 6 Super Bowls in 8 years. Like, that's insane, man. And if they start doing that, we got to start looking at this team completely different than what we look at a lot of other teams, right? Like, again, they've been to 5 Super Bowls in 7 years. If they make it to 6 Super Bowls in 8 years, that's absolutely insane.
Oh, agreed. But, their 2 biggest competitors now are going to be the Bills, the Ravens, maybe the Chargers. Texans are coming out, so who's more likely to beat the Chiefs? That's my question, because we've said for 3 years, at least 3 years, I can remember people saying, it's got to be the Bills. It's got to be the Bills. But always the Bills fall under pressure to the Chiefs. Will it be the Bills year? Is Josh Allen – I think he's coming right after an MVP season. Will he be that what if guy, or will he finally beat the Chiefs? I mean, they had a league record 525 points on offense. What more can you do to beat the Chiefs?
There's one thing that I think that the Buffalo Bills need to do to beat the Chiefs, and that's to just give them just the tip.
I just wanna put the tip in.
It's time for
Just a tip.
That Would Make Me Uncomfortable.
Promise that it ain't too much, but just enough. Just a tip. Just a tip.
Just the tip. Just the tip.
It's time for Just the Tip.
Just the Tip is brought to you by our friends over at www.myhappynuts.com. Check them out today, www.myhappynuts.com. Guys, take care of yourself all the way from your pits down to your tip. They've got the whole body deodorant. They've got the comfort cream. They've got the anti-chafe stick. They've got everything you need to make sure you are feeling your absolute best. www.myhappynuts.com. Use promo code Mike Tipton at checkout and save on all of your male grooming needs. Getting back to the Buffalo Bills. If there was a season, right? Like if there was a season for a team to be able to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, the Ravens and the Bills need to capitalize on this particular season. Like there's the Kansas City Chiefs are the weakest they've been in 5 years, it feels like. The Bills are coming off of an MVP season from Josh Allen. The Baltimore Ravens have what people consider to be one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback, and one of the best running backs, if not the best running back in the NFL. This is the season that I think the Kansas City Chiefs can be usurped by one of those teams. But you know what? We said that last season. We said that the season before, and it just doesn't happen, man. Like the Chiefs have some sort of magic there that I don't think anybody else has.
Yeah, and that magic is called coaching. That magic is called,
Patrick
Andy
Mahomes.
Reid, and yeah, Patrick does have to do some things, but I would say that coaching does have to do a lot of it. But it's like having Belichick in New England when Tom Brady did a lot of it, but without Belichick, that doesn't happen either. So I mean. It's really easy to say it's the quarterback or it's the coaching, but it has to be a combination of both. It has to be a combination of both. But this year, will the Chiefs get to the playoffs? Yeah. Will they be dangerous? Yeah. Will they finally lose to the Ravens or to the Bills? I think so too. But if they don't, this is their window. This is Josh Allen's window to actually win his conference championship and try to win a Super Bowl. Will they do it?
That's the thing, right? Like the Kansas City Chiefs remind me so much of like the old Yankees, right? Like where they just come in with an aura about them. Like they might be ripe for the picking right now, but you are going to get their best fight, and you better come with like your best fight as well. But there's always going to be those doubts in your head now because it's been year after year after year. The Buffalo Bills losing to the Kansas City Chiefs, the Ravens losing to the Kansas City Chiefs. So they're going to have that additional pressure of we've never beaten this team when it matters the most, that now you've got to try to beat this team when it matters the most. And I think that's going to be something that really helps out the Kansas City Chiefs, right? Like that's going to be something that really it gives them that air of invincibility in the AFC. Right? Like, sure, the Eagles beat the crap out of them, but they still got the Super Bowl being the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, and speaking of the Bills or the Ravens, let's say they do beat the Chiefs. Let's say the Chiefs do fall out, the wheels do fall out of the Chiefs, which is something that our people have been waiting for. They're still going to meet. Is it the Eagles again? Tip? Is it is it the Commanders, the Vikings, the Packers? Could it be the Packers? And I think a team that a lot of people aren't looking at, but they're going to be the dark horse, the Rams. But at the end of the day, I think the Eagles are going to go back to back. The Eagles are going to go back to back. And I know that really and I'm sorry, Roku, pisses you off, but what other team is there out there that can really win this? I mean, really win it?
It doesn't piss me off. Like I look at it logically though. I look at how much Philadelphia lost, man. Like I get it. You still have Saquon Barkley, you still have Jalen Hurts, you still have a great offense, but defensively and along the offensive line, they lost a lot, man. So for me, it's like, okay, if it's not the Eagles, then I think the entire NFC is wide open. I think the NFC is more wide open than the AFC is. I think you can feasibly say in the AFC, there's three teams. It's the Bills, it's the Ravens, it's the Chiefs. It's that simple, right? Be extremely surprised if some other team did it. But I don't think
Who's your dark horse
in the AFC?
Yeah,
The Kansas City Chiefs.
I mean, darker horse.
Okay, like a team that can make some noise in the AFC. Wow,
yes,
that's I don't believe in Houston the way that a lot of people believe in Houston. Denver. I would say Denver. I really like what they're doing in Denver. I feel like they're building a really good team there offensively and defensively. I think they're going to have the best secondary in the NFL. So I'm going with
I think the Chargers.
Okay.
The Chargers will be that dark horse that has that shot at the right conditions with the right, I think they have a shot.
The stars and the planets all need to align the right way in order for this to happen type team.
Yeah, Goku has to go Super Saiyan on them for actually them to make it that way. But the NFC, you're right. I mean, it's, other than the Eagles, who's there to really do it? You got the Lions, who had a great season last year. Unfortunately, they lioned out. They, will they be able to repeat will they go 15-2 again? I don't think so. Will they go 12-5? Did they lose too much? Are the Washington Commanders going to, be that team again? I don't know. The NFC, like you said, has way more questions than the AFC.
I think the NFC has more parity than the AFC does, right? Like if Green Bay, Minnesota, Detroit, the Commanders, Philadelphia, even Dallas, right? Like the Rams, we mentioned them, even the Buccaneers. Like I would not be surprised if any one of those teams made a deep playoff run because they have so much talent on them, right? Like you can feasibly look at that and say, okay, we've got 6 teams in the NFC that if they made it to the NFC Championship game, we'd be like, okay. Like the Cowboys, yeah, I think it would be super surprising, but the other teams there, I don't think it would be so surprising. And once you peel back the layers, you look at the Dallas Cowboys and say, oh yeah, that's a super talented team that they have that's playing on the field, right? Like they won in spite of coaching. And for me, it's like the AFC, if Denver made it, if the Chargers made it, we'd be like, oh crap, they had to have beat the Kansas City Chiefs somewhere along the way in order to get here, right? So that's why I think the AFC would be much more surprising. I think the AFC is not as fun to watch as what the NFC is going to be. And I think all the divisions in the NFC are going to be kind of up for grabs. Like, again, I feel like Philadelphia lost a lot. I feel like Detroit lost a lot. I don't know if I trust JJ McCarthy with the Minnesota Vikings to really say, okay, this is going to be the team that can overtake the Lions. But I really like what they've done in Green Bay. Like Green Bay's they were right there with them every step of the way. This was an 11-win team last year as well. Like they did a lot of winning, and they're a really good, well-coached organization. So for me, like I would not be surprised if it was the Packers that wind up being the cream of the crop of that division. I also wouldn't be surprised.
Go ahead.
I also wouldn't be surprised if it was the Lions again, right? Because they are a really good team. So it's just I think the AFC or the NFC East and the NFC North are so close with really good, talented teams. And then whenever I look at the West, I see the Rams as the best team in that division, and I think that they won a Super Bowl not that long ago. And then I see in the NFC South, I see the Buccaneers, and I see Baker Mayfield's got some magic with him. That team has some magic with him. If it wasn't for the fact that everybody he threw the ball to last year wound up being hurt, they could have made some noise.
Yeah, no, and to piggyback off your Green Bay Packer comment, um, they if I'm not, I can't remember the guy's name, but they drafted a first round wide receiver. I can't remember the name, but they got more targets one more target for Mr. Love. That Packers team is going to be interesting. It's extremely interesting. And
out of Texas.
What was that?
They drafted Matthew Golden, the wide receiver out of Texas.
Out of Texas. And then, the Washington Commanders, you were saying that, I mean, they have additions, and I always, sorry, Roku, screw up his name, Tunsil.
Larry Tunsil, yes.
Yeah. How did you say it, American?
Laramie Tunsil.
Tunsil, that's his name. And they got Deebo Samuel.
Yeah.
So
that's the thing is, like, I think Washington got better. I think Dallas got better. I know Philadelphia lost a lot, but they're still a really good team. And that's why I think, like, I wouldn't be surprised if I see 3 teams from the NFC East in the playoffs. I also wouldn't be surprised if I saw 3 teams from the NFC North in the playoffs, because, like, we forgot about the Bears. The Bears got a lot better in this offseason as well. Locally sourced El Paso over on Instagram saying it's going to be an interesting year for sure. 100% it's going to be. It's the NFC, I think, is going to be so much more fun to watch. I think in the AFC, we already know who the division winners are going to be. It's going to be Kansas City. It's going to be Buffalo. It's going to be Baltimore. And more than likely, it's going to be Houston. Despite the fact that we are the number 1 show in El Paso that covers the Jacksonville Jaguars whenever the season starts.
This show should be moved to England then, because the England Jaguars.
That's the only reason why, like, I'm really wanting to cover the Jags, is so that way I can take the show over to England for one of the London games.
That's how either that's how bad they are that they want them completely out of the country, or I
would have never thought, like, you know what? Let's show the world the best teams we have. Let's send them the Jacksonville Jaguars.
He has said no one ever. Well, said the NFL commish. Said the NFL commish. So let's look at the AFC real quick. So you're saying it's going to be the same division champs. It's going to be Kansas City with the AFC West. It's going to be Buffalo Bills, the AFC East. And it's going to AFC South. You're saying that the Texans are going to keep that title?
More than likely. Like, it would be –
Okay.
It's tough to look at the other teams. Like, do you trust Jacksonville? Do you trust the Titans? Do you trust the Colts to be the team that overtakes the Houston Texans? And right now, I don't think you can.
No. And then the big question here is the AFC North, because you got the Ravens, the Steelers, the Bengals. I think with Joe Burrow coming back in a full season, I think the Bengals have that shot to, maybe unseed the Ravens, because Pittsburgh is not going to be there. They got Aaron the Problem Rodgers there. So Pittsburgh is going to be 3rd or 4th, and Cleveland is going to be 3rd or 4th. So the Cincinnati Bengals have that shot to, if my favorite quarterback, Joe Burrow, stays healthy, they should really compete against the Ravens.
Dak Prescott 2.0, if he stays healthy.
Please don't insult him like that. I mean, I understand, but still. So so let's go to the NFC now. NFC and your NFC East. Will it stay the same? Will it stay the Eagles number one and the Commanders were number two? Your Dallas Cowboys was number three, and then the ugly New York Jets were number four. Will it stay like that? Will it continue to be like that? Or will Dallas maybe creep up to number two?
I can see
Do
a
they
scenario.
have
I can see a scenario where Washington is the best team in the AFC East or the NFC East. I can see a scenario where the Cowboys are the best team in the NFC East. It just all depends. Like I really feel like the division is up for grabs for everyone except for the Giants. Like the Giants, we can say the hopes for the Giants have been crushed, just like these crushed peanuts are. Right? Like that's what happens with the Giants. They've got no chance in hell. But I think the NFC East is wide open. Like I really feel the NFC East is wide open. So it could be anybody's division. But if I'm betting, I'm putting my money on the Eagles because why the hell not? They just won a Super Bowl. They have what's one of the most unstoppable moves in the NFL. And I really do like Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. I think it brings a level to that team that you just don't get anywhere else.
Yeah, and I'm going to disagree there. I don't think anybody there can take it. I just think it's the Eagles are going to take it again. No and ifs or buts. My question is, will Dallas be second place in that division, and will they unseat the Washington Commanders, which in that division? That's my question. Will Dallas do enough to do it? I don't think so because Washington is very well coached, but it's still up in the air. NFC South, Buccaneers, Falcons, Panthers, and the Saints. It's going to be the same. I think the Buccaneers are going to take that division.
Atlanta's going to be fun to watch, though. Atlanta's going to be really fun to watch.
Yeah, but does fun translate into, a winning record? That's the thing.
I think they'll have a winning record.
Are they going to be?
I think they'll be anywhere with like 9 to 10 wins on the season. I think Tampa Bay is going to win the division with like 12 or 11 wins, though.
Okay, we agree completely. And then here's a good one: the NFC West, where if you remember the Rams and the Seahawks, I think they were tied 10 win teams last season. And San Francisco's there. Well, San Francisco's, the wagon, really struck a curb there. The wagon struck a roundabout in El Paso for the 49ers. But my question is, will the 49ers be able to come back in the division? Do you see the 49ers coming back in the division?
I think this is going to be the least fun division to watch. I think the Rams are going to run away with it. I don't trust Sam Darnold in Seattle. I don't trust Kyler Murray in Arizona. I don't trust what San Francisco lost to be something that's going to help them out. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if San Francisco winds up being the worst team in that division because they lost so much. Like, along the offensive line, along the defensive line, along the secondary. They lost Deebo Samuel. Like, they lost a lot. Christian McCaffrey is going to be hurt. Whenever he was born, the doctor spanked him. He went on the IR for 6 weeks. Like, that's exactly the way that things happen with the San Francisco 49ers, right? I feel like the Rams are going to run away with that division, and they can run away with that division winning like 10 to 11 games. Like, it's not going to be a fun division to watch at all.
Ooh, that's, yeah. And I don't know if I agree to that, but I think the Rams should take it. And then, yeah, Sam Darnold, will he repeat his magic for the regular season? I don't think so. And then the NFC North. Tommy, what did Tommy say?
I was going to say, Tommy says he's picking the Cowboys in the East, the Rams in the West, the Packers in the North, and the Bucks or the Falcons in the South.
Ooh, that Falcons pick,
There's a
NFC
scenario
North
where I see
Lion.
the Falcons being the best team. I just I don't see it happening.
I don't. Yeah, I don't either. Now NFC North is going to get way better, and this is, I think, one of those conferences to watch, because you will have the Lions, the Packers, and then the Bears. Minnesota's gonna, its legs is gonna be cut off right at the knees. They just lost too much, I think, the Vikings.
I mean, the Vikings have a ton of talent around. Like, if there was a team where J.J. McCarthy can go in and succeed, he's got weapons, right? Like, they have a good offensive line. They got Justin Jefferson as one of the best receivers. They got Addison as well as one of the best receivers in the NFL. They've got Aaron Jones there, so they have a running game. Like, all he has to do is be a game manager. Like, he doesn't have to go out there and be a phenomenal quarterback, right? Like, he can be Sam Darnold 2.0. But do you really trust them to win those games? And it's the same thing that I'm saying with like the Washington Commanders, right? Like, they won a lot of games last year with just pure luck. These one possession games. In the NFL, it always reverts back to the means, right? That's why I think the Cowboys can be the second best team in that division. I think the Vikings are going to take a little step back. I think the Packers are going to take a step forward, but I still think that division goes through Detroit. Like, that's head and shoulders the best overall team, all-around team. And I think they have the best coach in that division. That team, for whatever reason, I don't know what it is that Dan Campbell does. That team will run through a brick wall full of grenades for that man, right? Like, he is the identity of that team. So for me, like, I think it's going to be the Lions still. Like, I like what the Packers have done. I still think it's going to be Detroit's division, though.
So the order of that division is going to be the Lions, the Packers, or the Lions and the Vikings and the Packers, and then the Bears. That's my question. Are the Bears still climbing, even though they got way better? Is it too much for the Bears to be last place in that division? Is it going to be the same? The Lions and then the Vikings, Packers, and then the Bears? Or what's your order in that division specifically? We know the Lions is number one there, but who do you put second? The Packers or the Vikings?
I'm putting the Packers at second. I still think the Vikings are going to be a really good team. Think about this, dude. The Bears could have won 10 games last year and still been the worst team in that division. That just shows how amazing the NFC North is, because you had the Lions with 15 wins, the Vikings with 14 wins, and the Packers with 11 wins, right? Like, I think the Bears, I think the Bears are going to be better this year. I think the gulf between them and the Vikings is going to be smaller, but I still see the Bears as like that fourth place team. If they were in another division, like if they were in the NFC West or if they were in the NFC South, I would say the Bears would be a contender to win that division. But they're not. They're in the NFC North, and the NFC North is just full of powerhouses right now.
Yeah, completely and utterly agreed. I think it. Commies. That's hilarious. I can't wait for the NFL, because I think this is going to be one of the most open years into who wins the championship. Can I say Super Bowl? Can I say?
I think this is one of the years that we're allowed to say Super Bowl.
Okay, or the Bowl of Super.
The big game.
The big game. The big game. But I think this is going to be one of the. I don't want to say the best season. I think we're going to have one of the most fun seasons we've had in a while, because of how teams are really getting better, and finally some of these owners are caring about what their team does.
Tommy Canonsa saying, I hate to say it, but I think the 49ers bounce back and make the playoffs this year, at least competing for the 7th seed in the playoffs. I agree with you. I think Like over the last couple of years, it was a foregone conclusion. We knew the Kansas City Chiefs were going to be in the Super Bowl. Like I said, if there's a time for them to be overtaken, it's now, right? Like I can't imagine the noise that happens around Baltimore and Buffalo if they cannot beat Kansas City this year. It would be overwhelming, man. It would be drastic if they couldn't beat Kansas City this year. So I think the AFC is kind of open to those three teams. I would even throw Cincinnati in there. I think Cincinnati's a really good team. I just don't think that they're better than the Ravens. I don't think they're going to win the division, but I can see them making some noise in the playoffs if they make it to the playoffs, right? The NFC, though, I think is just wide open. I think, again, you can name off 6 or 7 teams and be like, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if that team made it to the NFC Championship game.
So here's a wide open question for your team. Excuse me, Tip. Which team is it? An AFC team or an NFC team that wins the Super Bowl? And I'm just leaving it that wide open because we know in the AFC it's just maybe 4 teams that are going to get there.
If it's up to me, I think it's going to be a team in the AFC. Like,
okay,
I think the top 3 teams in the AFC are better than the top 3 teams in the NFC.
So that's how much you hate the Eagles.
Oh, dude, I wanted an asteroid to hit Earth whenever it was the Eagles Washington Commanders NFC Championship game. I was ready for the entire world and universe to come to an end. I was like, where's this black hole that like the CERN super collider has been trying to create, and how come it hasn't like just consumed the entire world right now?
Isn't National Streaming Sports based out of Philadelphia?
Yes, but that's not the point. I'm taking, again, anything but Philadelphia. Me versus Philadelphia. I am with it. I am here for it.
Okay, I'm just going to say the following: Go Philly.
Oh, you're gross. Aren't you a Patriots fan? They beat your Patriots the last
I
time.
am. Yeah, I am a Patriot fan, but like I said, you think my Patriots are going to be maybe have a good season. I still don't see it.
I think the Patriots are going to be the second best team in the AFC East. I genuinely believe that.
See, for me, for the level of excellence I demand, that's not good enough.
The level of excellence I demand. Tommy Khan saying that's how much he hates the Cowboys. Shake my head. What? Well, I don't hate it. Or maybe you hate the Cowboys. I'm not talking about Philadelphia. He's talking about Philadelphia. Throwing the tomato. Anytime we talk Philadelphia, Tommy throws tomatoes at us. We got to remember that. I got to come up with like a virtual tomato that can be thrown onto the screen and just splat right there onto the screen. I think I'll come up with something like that, Tommy, because I think we're going to be talking a lot about Philadelphia this upcoming season, man. I genuinely think that. All right, Augustine. Once again, dude, I want to thank you so much. Everybody, don't forget about our friends over at Crushed Peanuts, okay? They got 9 grams of protein. It's a great way to start your day, or it's a great midday snack. If you're working out, you're trying to lose weight, you're trying to get as sexy as Augustine and I, Crushed Peanuts is the way to go. 9 grams of protein, just 310 calories, the perfect way for you to supplement what you need for your workouts, and the only way for you to crush your day.
Thanks, Tip. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day and be safe.
All right, guys. We'll see you all later.
Go Cowboys to the trash can.
Oh, this guy.